Dilip Bhat, Joint MD, Prabhudas Lilladher, joins in with his perspective on the market. Dilip, what a day to have you, and good to have you. Good afternoon. I would have wanted to start off by getting your comments on the markets, but since there's not much happening there, let's start off with Infi. How did you see the whole saga play out? And it's actually still unfolding as the transition takes place. And what are you advising clients? Because I know a lot of your clients would be holding positions and would be anxious about the future of the business.
Well, I think Infosys, the way it is played out in media and in the press, I think it's very unfortunate because the board is very eminent, the founders are very eminent, and I think both have taken a very extreme pole positions in terms of the interpretation of what is corporate governance, and I think that is what is we are seeing what is being played out over here. But having said that, I think if you were to still see on a fundamental basis, I think Infosys still continues to look very solid, very strong, and it is very difficult to imagine that there is only one person who can be called a leader, and the company doesn't have a bandwidth of eminent management capability. So maybe Sikka was really very good, there is no doubt about it, and he was really navigating through a very tough environment. But I think overall we should still depend on the resilience of the management and the experience that they have in terms of the balance of the people. So having said that, I think we feel that Infosys on a risk return basis from here, the risks are limited, considering the fact that they still generate a huge amount of free cash. ROEs are still respectable. We know that they are entering a very tough times, especially the digital era. But I would still say that on the risk return basis, Infosys looks pretty good. One should accumulate around the current levels and maybe slightly at a lower levels. And I think one can really get a reasonable appreciation over the next 12 to 15 months.
Okay, now Dilip, you want to stay focused on the next story. This is going to be a game-changing story for Infosys. Even as advisory firms mount pressure on Infosys to being back to co-founder Nandan Nilekani on board, sources has said that he has already started playing an active role on building bridges between the board and founders. Dilip, I'll take up from the point which you mentioned. I mean, markets are nervous about two things: what will happen to Infosys growth and what will happen to the new leader. Hypothetically, Dilip, what Chandra is indicating that Nandan may play a very large role now, either as an advisor or as a mediator. Will that just dismiss and dismiss, and will that really smooth a lot of unnerving fears?
Well, I think the current feud between the most vocal promoter and the board is something which people have not liked. So whether to that extent, if Nandan Nilekani really manages to diffuse this particular thing and make it a sort of a more amiable and a constructive kind of dialogue between the two, which paves way for the selection of a proper CEO who just doesn't remain under the fear of the erstwhile promoters and not getting a full backing of the current board. So I think that is where the challenge would lie for Nandan Nilekani in case if he's playing any role, how to bridge this particular gap and how to walk the middle path if there is any at the moment. I think that will be the real challenge at the moment.